Hello everybody, we've got a lot to get through today in today's video. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 3. What went wrong? We'll talk about the game in just a moment. Let's get on how we do the normal reviews. What we're going to look at first is the lineups. We'll get some, obviously we'll talk about the game. We'll get some reaction from the Newcastle camp and also talk about some individual players in the league table as well. So let's begin how the Newcastle normally lined up. How they lined up, sorry. It was Darlow in goal, and it was Anita at right back, Lascelles and Clark in the middle, Dummett left back. Then it was Atsu on the flanks with Richie on the other, Shelvey and Colback in the middle, Diarmi in the number 10 and Gale up top. Fulham, a couple of surprises. Button was in goal, Odai at right back, Callas, Ream and two centre-backs, Maloney at left back, McDonald and Johansson sitting. And then the front three were Luco, Sessegnon was on the left, Cabana on the right, and Tom Kearney was playing in the hole. I have to say Tom Kearney was outstanding. So Fulham started really well. The early signs were there that they were dominating the play, and they were, to be honest with you. And there was no real surprise when Tom Kearney come up with that wonder goal on the 15 minutes, 25 yards out, just pings the top corner. We said in the preview that this guy was a man to stop. He's got plenty of goals, plenty of assists in the Championship this season. We've been rumoured linked with him, and he just puts one top corner, and you've got to admit that Fulham deserved it. And this, in particular, you've got to say in particular the first half, they looked dangerous throughout. All the Cabano, and then you've got Luco and Sessegnon were all alter-changing, and then Nita and Dummett were really struggling to cope. And you have to say that likes of Shelvey and Colback should have got closer to Kearney, not just the first half, all the way through the second half as well. And Diarmi as well, getting back to make that a 3. We just didn't see it enough, you know. Only really chance that we had probably all game, the clear one, was when Shelvey was played over the top and Gale was in on goal. I think he had too much time to make up his mind where he's going to put that shot, and it goes out for a corner. Disappointing from Gale, because you would expect that Dwight Gale to go on and score that. So half time come round, it was pretty average. Fulham, to credit, looked absolutely magnificent, and they were absolutely phenomenal. They're the best side to come and Stadium Championship part this season. For all the home games I've been at this season, every single one, Fulham have been the best side, you know, and they've pushed themselves right back on the playoffs with their win today. Second half, we're seeing two goals. Dummett was at fault for the second goal, a poor clearance, a false success on Jan. In the kid, he's only 16 years, he will go far. You guys who are at the ground today, you're watching possibly a potential future England player there. He scores, it's 2-0 over, he comes up 2-0, he comes over celebrating where we are sitting.
Excellent by Dummett, wasn't it? Dummett,
and then it was literally game over just a few minutes later when over the top ball, Sessegnon's free, he grabs his second, it's 3-0 over. You see a few fans leaving.
Sessegnon, 16-year-old, has got his second. Fulham now lead 3-0.
The loyal ones were staying, of course, and it was 3-0. Rafa made a couple of changes to try and get something from the game. He brought on Darryl Murphy. Murphy got his goal. He took it really well, you know, turned back towards goal, fired bottom corner from outside the box. A brilliant strike from Darryl Murphy. That focal point will look a little bit better when he was put on. In fact, it looked a lot much better when Murphy come on and asked the question, do you start with Murphy next game? Because he gives Newcastle that bit of focal point. Newcastle's tactics today it was pretty evident. It was long balls all the time. It wasn't just Shelvey, it wasn't just, you've seen from the centre backs, Lascelles, you've seen from the full backs. It was get the ball over the top, because Fulham's highlight, and I mentioned this in the preview again, that they play a very high line, and that leaves space in behind. Newcastle, Rafa noticed it, and we're trying it too many times, and we just didn't have a plan B. When something isn't work, you need a backup, and Newcastle just didn't have it. The likes of Shelvey couldn't get on the ball quite, he just didn't look up for it. Diarmi went disappearing, his tracking back was poor. Again, I'm picking faults, yeah, but I think Fulham were absolutely, again, magnificent. Fulham were, like I said, best team to come. They were brilliant. Their front three, we couldn't cope. Vernon Nita, and in particular Paul Dummett, in particular second half, was literally all over the place. He just couldn't cope with the pace. I mean, the penalty that they had, we haven't even touched upon, the penalty that they got in the last minute, Dummett was just reckless. He just didn't care, even, I can't cope with this pace, and he budges the man over, and it's a penalty. And you think Sessegnon, if you guys are wondering, there's a hospital next door. Sessegnon steps up thinking the 16-year-old's going to grab a hat. What a dream in front of 52,000. And then the US international Reams comes up and takes it off him, bizarrely, and he puts it wide. And I'm thinking, shocking, he should have at least given the kid a bit of glory, you know. 3-1, you know. You can see obviously on fan cams everyone's a little bit disappointed as well. What we're going to do now is get some Newcastle reaction. So here's some reaction from the Newcastle camp.
Rafa, not the way you would have wanted to have your anniversary today.
Obviously not. We knew that today could be a difficult game, but we said before it has been difficult. We made too many mistakes. We conceded a goal in the first 15 minutes, and after you could see that we were not playing at the level that normally we play. So they were happy on the ball because it's a team that they like to play and pass the ball, and also quick in the counter attack. So then making so many mistakes against a good team, normally you pay for that.
First league loss in 12, I imagine not a nice feeling.
No, definitely not. We're obviously all disappointed. I don't think we performed anywhere near as good as we can, and we know we can. So I think that's probably the most disappointing.
You obviously went away from home, lost 3 games, got 7 great points. Then today happens. Can you put your finger on why that was?
I can't really know. I think obviously a few mistakes for some of the goals, but I think we're just getting too much time on the ball, and I think they played through us too easily. But as I said, really disappointed. But the game has gone now. We can't do anything about it. All we can do is go in training this week and make sure we put it right next week.
So pretty disappointed, you know, bit of kick in the teeth. This was a warning game. I wasn't vastly confident. I said 1-1 draw and possibly 1-0 would nick it, but normally I go in quite confident, say 2-3-0. But like I mentioned already on, Shelby didn't look up for it. Looked really, really tired. You've got to say Atsu was trying to do a lot of things, but he was holding on the ball too much. He wasn't releasing the ball, so I thought he was pretty disappointing as well. Diarmi looked lazy. He wasn't making that midfield, that central midfield, a 3. And then, as I mentioned, the tactics were all over the top of the ball, which we couldn't cope with the fact we didn't have a plan B for that. League table, we are now joint top, as you've seen, with obviously Brighton winning yesterday. Back to square one, isn't it? And Huddersfield, with their game in hand, are only 6 points behind us. Great result for Fulham. If you look at Fulham's, they have literally pushed right up against Sheffield Wednesday because they were beaten today. It's all to play for again, I'm afraid, people. 9 games to go. Got some tough fixtures here at St James's Park, but Newcastle's home form, it needs addressing. It's really, Rafa's talked about it in the last few days, and it's a tough one. It'll be interesting to see what you guys have got to say in your comments down there below. What do you make of that? It's a difficult one. It's really hard to try and take that in. But fair do, I'm going to give it again. Fulham were outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you later.